Goal setting is the most important aspect of all improvement or personal development plans. It is the key to all fulfillment and achievement. Confidence is important. Determination is vital. Many different personality traits contribute to success, but they all come into focus in goal setting. If you ask me to list everything that has gone into the achievement of my own personal success, probably 75% of what I would have to say would involve goal setting. Let's begin by making this statement. If you are not making the progress you would like to make and are capable of making, it is simply because your goals are not clearly defined. If you are not making the progress you want, if your life doesn't seem to be fitting together, it is simply because your goals are not clearly defined. A goal is a target toward which you move, but it's something more than that. There is something almost mystical about a crystallized goal when you have developed a plan and set a deadline for its attainment. Such a goal produces in you a burning desire, intense self-confidence, and a firm determination to follow through. In some miraculous way, a crystallized goal brings everything into shape, form, and focus necessary for its achievement. Whether it be people you need or money or ideas, all the ingredients of success seem to fall into line right on the exact timetable to hit your target date. It has happened to me 1,000 times. It has happened to other people who have mastered the art of goal setting. Let me just share with you some of the stories that I've collected over the years about people who set goals. One day, many summers ago, John Goddard sat down in his bedroom and thought about all the things he would like to do when he grew up. It wasn't a particularly extraordinary flight of fancy for a boy of 15, but Goddard carried it a bit further than most. First, he wrote down everything that occurred to him, every adventure, every journey, every challenge, every pleasure. Then, one by one, year by year, he set about accomplishing them. Some of the 127 goals that he wrote down seemed easily attainable even then. Becoming an Eagle Scout, that was number 5 on the list. Type 50 words a minute, that was number 21. Visit a movie studio was number 10. Hold my breath underwater for 2.5 minutes, number 23. Others seemed considerably more difficult. Milk a rattlesnake, number 9. Read the entire Encyclopedia Britannica, number 50. Sail the South Seas in a schooner, number 117. Learn to speak French, Spanish, number 78 and 79. Many seemed downright impossible. Climb Mount Everest, number 8. Visit every country in the world, number 89. Find Noah's Ark, number 57. Go to the moon, number 127. John Goddard has real perseverance. He has now reached 107 of his goals, only 20 more to go. It is not really all that crazy as it sounds. He insisted in the den of his home, surrounded by the hundreds of souvenirs he has brought back. Here is the key. I had a wild imagination. I had a wild imagination, Goddard says, but it was also very disciplined and organized. So you can see he added some do it now, and he added action. Procrastination, obviously, is not a part of his mental makeup. I believe that we can see from this illustration that it is important not only to fantasize and dream and visualize and make that a part of what we do for goal setting, but to put it down and organize it and then get into action. Goddard goes on to say, even today I make lists of all the things I'm going to do every month. It's only natural that I would make a list of what I was going to do in my whole life. Goddard is quite unusual, isn't he? Few of us have formulated such a comprehensive list of dreams and then developed a plan to achieve each one of them. But actually, that's all there is to goal setting. It's just simply writing down your dreams, crystallizing your thinking, and then developing a plan with a deadline for its attainment. Goddard decided what he was going to do in his lifetime. He set it out day by day, week by week, and month by month, and then crossed the items off of his list as he achieved them. Any time in my life that I have ever made a list of what I wanted to do or wanted to achieve, I have always accomplished it. I have never written down anything that I wanted to do that I haven't been able to do. You may say, well, maybe you have some extra talent, but that's not really true. I've seen it happen time and time again. It's simply a matter of putting it down and then just developing a plan of action for its attainment, looking at the obstacles that are in the way and developing ways around the obstacles. Several years ago, Nelson Burton, a leading moneymaker on the bowling circuit, was interviewed about his phenomenal success. He said, well, I don't remember ever missing them. He was talking about the pins. They asked, how about when you started? Burton said, well, I had an exceptional father who knew a lot about goal setting and about building an environment of success. They asked how that related to bowling, and he told how his father made some small-sized pins for him when he was little and a smaller ball. Second, Burton said, he knew that the ball would probably go in the gutter, so he had the pin boy set the pins up in the gutter. When I stopped rolling the ball down the gutter and rolled it in the alley, then they moved the pins back in the alley. I don't ever remember missing them. I tell you what, that's the key. Let me tell you what you want to do for your children. Let them succeed no matter what they're doing. Move the basketball hoop down where they can hit it. Move anything around where they can hit it. Put the bar low enough so they can jump over it. Help them achieve little victories, small successes. Then slowly but surely build self-esteem and self-confidence. People who grow up in this kind of environment have an unbelievable advantage, a real head start for a successful life. Johnny Bench, at age 23, was declared baseball's most valuable player. His dad gave him a catcher's glove when he was 3 years old and started playing with him every day. A.J. Foyt, one of auto racing's all-time greats, said, "There is really nothing else I wanted to do but race." He had a single-minded purpose and dream. An Oklahoma newspaper told about a young millionaire who has it all figured out. After graduation from Wheaton, Illinois College with a Bachelor of Science degree in physics and chemistry, Maxfield mapped out a 44-year program for himself with an immediate objective of earning more money in 10 years than most men do in 44. He was a millionaire in 10 years. He not only fantasized, he not only daydreamed, he not only imagined, he not only visualized his dreams, but he put them down in black and white. Then he took every one specifically and developed a plan of action with a deadline for its attainment. He listed the obstacles, the roadblocks, and the way around them. Then he got to work. One of the top professional basketball players told me that he had learned from his father to throw a tennis ball into a tin can at the age of 2. When he looks at a basket, he doesn't visualize missing it. He can't remember ever missing it. I have in my collection a clipping about a man regaining his pilot's license, which he had lost. The headline says, "Double amputee flies plane again." This pilot lost both of his legs above the knees, but in just a few months he was back in an airplane with a flying license. He rigged the equipment he needed to do the job he loved. John Claude Keeley's name is almost synonymous with skiing. When he was 14 years old, he set a goal to win 3 gold medals in the Olympics in the next 10 years. Then he did it. My friend P.M. Johnson, who was mayor of Waco, Texas a few years ago, told me about an old school friend of his who went into the service during World War II. This young fellow wrote P.M. that he intended to win every medal offered. He is the only winner of the Congressional Medal of Honor who planned in advance to win it. This young man was Audie Murphy, the most decorated serviceman in World War II. You can't stop a person who wants to go someplace. You can't beat somebody who won't be beaten. Pilot James Benson Irwin is a good example. He suffered 2 broken legs, a broken jaw, and a brain concussion that wiped out his memory. He spent 2 years with psychiatrists who used truth serum and hypnosis to help him bring back his memory, and then he went back in the cockpit. He applied to the Corps of Astronauts, was rejected, tried again, rejected, tried again, rejected, tried again, rejected. But he wouldn't give up. He was the 8th man to walk on the moon. That doesn't seem extraordinary to me. Does it to you? It doesn't seem extraordinary to me because I know what goal setting does to a person. The attitudes, the success conditioning, and the confidence that come from goal setting make anything possible. Let's apply this principle to the operation of a business during an economic downturn. If you are goal-directed and you know what you're going to achieve, then any temporary adversity or any difficult obstacle doesn't dim or dampen your enthusiasm, nor does it subject you to fear, worry, and indecision or negative thinking. All it does is intensify your desire, increase your confidence, and multiply your determination. Then when the obstacles are overcome, you are stronger because you learn from that temporary setback. When you reach the success you planned for and determined to achieve, it will be 10 times bigger than you thought it would. Without adversity, you can achieve your goal almost exactly as you describe it. But fortunately, even when you encounter adversity on the way to your goal, it doesn't defeat you. It merely strengthens you. When you finally reach your goal, your achievement is multiplied over and above your expectations. I want to sell you on the benefits of adversity and temporary defeat. If you refuse to be discouraged by adversity, success comes in unpredictable multiples. It has happened to me many times. When I first started in the insurance business, I had a goal to write $1 million worth of business. But I could get only 1 sale from 14 presentations. As a result, my highest monthly income during the first 8 months was $87. But I believed in my goal. When I finally began to acquire the selling skills I needed, I expected to make $150. I didn't. The 9th month, I made $3,000. If you believe in your goal enough to stick with it, when you finally do put it all together, success will come in bunches. It will be much bigger than you expected. Of course, I sold $1 million, and the second year I sold almost $4 million. It's true for personal goals as well as business goals. Several years ago, I started playing tennis. After a few months, I began to wish for a tennis court in my backyard. I set a goal to build a tennis court in my yard and began to make the necessary plans. My only problem was my backyard sloped down to a lake. There wasn't a level spot big enough for a checkerboard, much less a tennis court. I wanted the tennis court so much that I even hired an architect and an engineer to give me an estimate on what it would cost to put some concrete piers in the backyard and build a tennis court out onto the piers like you would build a bridge across the river. They told me it was possible, but the price estimate was so high that even as bad as I wanted the tennis court, I couldn't justify spending that much money for it. But I didn't abandon my goal. I just decided to wait until some opportunity to make it come true. A few months after that, a woman rang my doorbell and said she wanted to buy my house. I laughed and told her it wasn't for sale, and she asked me if she could just look at it. I didn't see any harm in that, so I invited her in to look at the house. She said, "This is exactly where I want to spend the rest of my life, and I know exactly the house you need to move to. It has just come on the market. It has 4 acres of land around it with plenty of room for a tennis court." I don't know who she had been talking to about my goals, but she certainly got my attention. We got into my car and drove about a mile around the shore of the lake to look at a house she had told me about. In a month, we were moved into the new house, and a brand new tennis court was fast taking shape in my yard. But wait, that's not all. A few months later, I heard of a small private tennis club in our city that was going to be sold and turned into another type of business. I had belonged to the club since it was established and thought it was a wonderful place for family recreation. So I bought the tennis club, and I now have 11 additional tennis courts. When goals are achieved, success is much bigger than you have ever expected. Never take your eye off your goal. Do not be diverted. Do not be discouraged. There is a story of a Persian prince who was born a hunchback. On his 12th birthday, his father asked him what gift he would like to receive for his birthday. The crippled boy looked at his father and said, "I would like a statue of myself." At that point, I would imagine the father was sorry he had suggested a gift, sorry that he had thought of it, and wished he hadn't even remembered the boy's birthday. "Surely," the father said, "there must be something else you want." But the boy said, "No, I want a statue of myself. But wait, I do not want it to show me as I look now. I want a statue of myself standing straight." Well, his father thought that was even worse. The son went on to say, "I would like it placed outside the window in the garden where I can look at it every day." Finally, the father gave in and had the statue made. Every day the boy went into the garden. He looked at the statue and he stretched and he stretched. He pushed and stretched and he stretched and he pushed. He did this every single day for 9 years. On his 21st birthday, he stood with his shoulders erect and his head straight, and he looked the statue in the eye. I'm telling you, that's not mere fantasy. That's not just a story. That's an illustration of reality. Such belief in a goal is concrete, meaningful, and workable. I am thankful for every single roadblock I have encountered, every single obstacle or adversity. If you are self-motivated and goal-directed, obstacles merely intensify your desire, multiply your energy, and make you 10 times the person you would be without them. When you face obstacles or adversity, it's a blessing in disguise. See obstacles and adversity as steps towards your goal. Learn to say, "I have a problem. What's good about it? How can I use it to move me toward my goal?" Get the habit of being thankful for any adversity. All you have to do to succeed anywhere is to overfill your place. And then you can keep on going and keep on going. Make one less mistake every day. It's that simple. Boss Kettering, the inventive genius, wanted to prove conclusively the power of visualization and the power of goal setting. He bet a friend $5,000 that if the friend put a beautiful ornate bird cage in the foyer of his home, that he would soon have a bird in it. The friend took the $5,000 bet, even though Kettering told him in advance what the obstacles would be. He hung the bird cage in his foyer. Soon his friends began to notice the ornate bird cage in the foyer. They would say, "That's a magnificent bird cage. Where did you get it?" He would say, "Well, I went to a furniture mart with a decorator, and we looked at all of them and picked this one out because it ties in with the decor of the rest of the home." Then his friends would say, "Where's your bird?" The man would say, "I don't have a bird." "No, I didn't intend to get a bird." "I don't know. I guess everybody's hung up on something. With me, it's bird cages." He kept seeing the bird cage until finally he couldn't stand it any longer. He put a bird in the bird cage. I'm just saying, be careful about the kind of bird cage you look at. Be careful what you think about, because you will surely achieve it. You will surely possess it. That is the power of a written goal. A written goal keeps you on track. It serves as a checkpoint. It keeps you from being overwhelmed by outside distraction. A hazy goal will produce at best a hazy result. An indefinite goal will produce at best an indefinite result. Several different types of goals are necessary. There are short-range goals or immediate goals. For those inexperienced in goal setting, a short-range goal would be one that can be achieved in a week or perhaps even a day. For one who is experienced in goal setting, short range might be a maximum of 6 months. Do not make the mistake of dwelling on the distant future only. Focus on an action you can take today, if it is no more than listing on a card the jobs you are going to do today. The habit of setting goals is developed just as any other habit is acquired. You must consciously choose to set goals and practice doing it until you have internalized the process and it is automatic. The second type of goal is a long-range goal or ultimate goal. Long range can be a year or 5 years or 10 years or even a lifetime for some parts of your goals program. Third, there are tangible goals. Tangible goals deal with both tangible needs and tangible wants. A tangible need is just a necessity like income or getting your hair cut or just simply a do list of things that need to be done this week. Tangible wants are anything you've ever wanted in your lifetime. Goddard put down his tangible wants when he was 15. Finally, there are intangible goals. An intangible goal is simply a personality characteristic that needs to be changed to help you achieve tangible goals. We always want to have something materially, but we often fail to realize that we need a goal to become something internally. It is obviously important to set tangible goals, but it's equally important to set goals for the personality characteristics that are needed to achieve the tangible goals. Your goals must be something that you want personally if you ever expect to achieve it. If you have a fantasy today or tonight to go climb Mount Everest, then write it down. If you have a desire to visit 100 countries, write it down. It doesn't make any difference what it is you want to do or how ridiculous it sounds to somebody else. Put it down. It is at this point that we often fail in goal setting. We use our intellect and our education and our logic and our reasoning to judge whether we have the capacity or capability to achieve this goal. We put on a judge's robe and we think, I can't do that. Think about it a minute. My mother and father have never done it. Nobody in my block has done it. I don't have the money to do it. I don't have the education to do it. And I don't have the experience to do it. So we decide not to try and justify that decision by saying, I am an intelligent person. I'm using logic and reasoning. I'm not being foolhardy about this thing. And that's not the way it works at all. Write down anything that comes into your mind. I don't care what it is. Or anything that you want to be. You cannot judge it in any way, shape, form, or manner, whether you have the capacity or the capability to achieve it. Another factor that inhibits dreams at the beginning is the feeling we are not worthy. Some people turn down promotions in a company, even when the management can see that they are right for the job. When opportunity knocks, they say, no, I'd rather stay where I am. If they are pressed to try, they resign. I met one individual with excellent qualifications who had hopped from one company to another until finally the industrial psychologist in one company where he worked did an intensive psychological survey. The psychologist discovered that a long time ago somebody had pushed him into the water and he had almost drowned. Ever since that time he was afraid to get in over his head. He took swimming lessons at the suggestion of the psychiatrist and learned to swim. The new confidence in himself that resulted let him take the job and he became an outstanding success. The motivational blocks in your past must not be allowed to limit your dreams. That's the key.